This is Ravens Flock Talk Podcast, coming to you every week with their thoughts and opinions on each and every Ravens game. Tune in weekly and join the flock.
This is Ravens Flock Talk. I am your host, Brandon, and my dad joins me as my other host. We're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into it. This was a failure on epic proportions from all facets of the game. At some point, whether it's during the middle of the season, but definitely by all means necessary at the end of this season, whether we make the playoffs or not, there has to be a change in this front office and in this coaching staff. As you know, if you've been listening to us, we want John Harbaugh gone. I don't know how you could still defend him after this game. Zach Orr, dead last in defense. He's got to be gone. I mean, that was a failure hire, and Todd Monken. But at the end of the day, as much as we don't like John Harbaugh, if you've been listening to us, this team quit. This team quit on their head coach. Mm-hmm. And since we started this podcast, in all the years that we watched the Ravens before we started this podcast, I have never seen a Ravens team quit on their head coach. I don't care how much you don't believe in them or don't like them. You just don't do that. You just do not do that. And you know what? This is why this is going to be a quick episode, because why are we going to put in effort when they quit? It was a slap to the face to the fan base and to the city of Baltimore after that performance.
Can't agree with you more. This is ridiculous. I mean, I thought it couldn't get worse than Detroit last week, and it did.
Yeah.
And I totally agree. What was going on? And they weren't into it. Nobody had any emotion. There was no tenacity on the field, and the whole team looked like they quit, not just Lamar.
Yeah, they did not come ready to play, and the second drive we're going down. We could make it 14-3. Really put our foot on their throats right out the gate, and as soon as he threw that interception, you knew it was just going to go downhill.
And you're always saying that about Lamar. Once something bad happens, he seems like he can't snap out of it right away, especially in the first quarter. And so you have constantly reminding me of that.
And that's as much as we love Lamar, and we know we're nothing without Lamar. So it's tough when we make videos and criticize him, and I'm expecting to get a lot of comments about it. But we got to be fair here, folks. Yes, he's our franchise quarterback, but he cannot get on the wayside of his emotions every time he makes a mistake. Like Mahomes is clapping, he's getting, he's dapping his guys up, he's getting them involved. Lamar has to have the same demeanor whether you throw a touchdown pass or throw an interception or a fumble, And it's just he falls apart. And as soon as I see that personally, I know we got no shot to win this game when he's that emotional and he's pouting on the sideline.
I mean, when they came out, it was very optimistic. The first drive, they were grounding and pounding it with Henry. I'm like, okay, we came to play. And then somewhere along in the first half, I turned to Brandon and said, something seems off with Lamar. Something he's not.
His body language was just horrible.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Even on the sideline, his head was down. He didn't look engaged. Is the best adjective I can use.
Yeah,
it's like he just seemed out of it, and I don't know why. This was such an important game in the AFC, and to go 1-3.
To make that team and that stadium 1-3, because they've been your kryptonite for years.
Exactly.
You blew it against the Lions. I mean, you're supposed to be getting up for this game, And we have all these injuries already going into the game, and then we leave the game with more injuries. But it was just, it was so disappointing to see. And the last thing that I'll say on Lamar, and then we'll flip it to you in regards to the offense. I put up a poll, and whenever somebody gets injured, I never like to be like, oh, he's not injured. That's the wrong way to go about it. You don't know what that person's going through, how they're feeling. But I wanted to see, am I the only one that thinks like this? Because it seemed a bit weird. So I put up a poll. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people voted. And the majority said that they don't believe he was injured. They believe that he quit on the team. He took himself out. Because a lot of people were saying, too, I even went on Instagram Live after the game. They were like, if he was injured, where's the training staff on him? Where's the medical guys, checking on his leg? He didn't go in the blue tent. So if he's injured, why is he not being looked at?
Yeah.
It was just very suspicious and weird. It was strange. It was strange.
Very strange.
And I have to bring it up because it's like, as much as you love the guy, I was like, man, I don't want to believe it, but all signs kind of point to it looks like he just pulled himself out.
Yeah, I hate to remind Ravens fans, but this is not the first time he's done this. On his contract year, 3 quarters into the game, he said he was injured.
And into the season.
Into the season, I meant.
Huntley took over. It's just weird. It's just very weird. And in regards to this game, I get, we were going to lose no matter what, but you're the leader, man.
Yeah.
You just don't do that.
Yeah.
If he really isn't injured, but hey.
And more importantly, with his body language. His body language the whole game was not a leader. He, no intensity, not walking up and down the sidelines to his offensive line, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hop into the offense now. Let's go into some of the weeds of this game. It's not much to say because we got manhandled, but it was terrible.
Yeah, all I can say is it starts with Todd Monken in the offense. And week after week, all we keep saying is the same thing about him. You cannot trust him. You can't trust the game plan. He's got these weapons that we brought in, and he's not utilizing them.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins makes a fantastic catch that they call back. Every game you see him making catches that no other receiver on our team is making. And then I'm so sick of him and with Derrick Henry, he 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, he's not utilizing them.
Not only that, he's not on the field.
Yeah, he's not even.
So the threat of Derrick Henry even getting the ball is gone. I mean, we were killing teams with that option play. Does Lamar have it? Does Derrick have? Now he's taking Henry off the field.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
There's no decoy being used with him. You're not utilizing any. He averaged 5 yards a carry, and he only had 4 carries in the first half.
And he ended with 8.
And he ends with 8.
And Todd seems to do this against the Chiefs always.
I was just going to say, what is it with him and Kansas City? Yeah, and he got torched for that. All in the media, all with the fan base. And he did it again.
If I'm Derrick Henry, I was saying this. I'm like, I wouldn't blame him if he's like, just trade me. Like, why do you guys have me if you're not going to utilize me?
Yeah.
I get last week they ran it 3 times at the one he got stuffed. But last week is last week.
Yeah.
This is a new week. No matter how bad the offensive line is, you got to trust that you're going to get it.
He came out in the first series and he torched them.
Do a tush push like Philly. I mean, it's just unfathomable. And what you said earlier with DeAndre Hopkins, he was getting only like two passes a game and making all these plays, and he needs to be getting like 5 looks a game. Why do we have guys, not just from a schemes perspective, from a personnel perspective? We got Tylan Wallace out there more than DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
You can't trust this coaching staff.
And DeAndre, you can't trust Todd. And there was no reason not to have DeAndre out there. He's not hurt.
Yeah.
He's a big physical receiver. In the red zone, he should be out there every time with Derrick Henry, and not Justice Hill.
People say the offense has been carrying the team. How can you blame the offense? Yes, the offense has been carrying because the defense is dead last.
Yeah.
In terms of the defense, they're so bad, I don't even know what to say. I mean, everything needs to be changed. But in key moments, in key third downs against the big teams, the contenders, the Phillies, the Chiefs, you can even throw Pittsburgh in there because it's always tight games with us and them. And Buffalo, Todd Monken will call the weirdest plays. And I get we're putting up 30, 40 points, but when it matters most and you got to seal the deal, can he do it?
We're sitting there looking at the TV saying, uh-oh, it's 3rd and 1. There goes Henry on the bench. I mean, we were joking, and then it happens, and he's putting Justice
Tony
Hill out
Romo
there.
and Jim Nantz were making jokes about it. And we're got to sit there as fans like,
yeah, we're not imagining this. I'm like, are you kidding me, Todd?
Everybody can see it but our own coaching staff.
Yeah. What are they doing in the film room? That's what I'd like to know.
And in terms of defense, we got to get, I'm going to throw Stanley in here. He's got to go. I want guys that I can rely on to play. Yeah. Marlon Humphrey's got to go. Odafe Away, like Marlon, had an anomaly year last year. But where are these guys in the big games? Yeah. Where's the sacks? Where's the pressures? It's not there. David Ajabo, why is this guy still on the team? You know, Trenton Simpson got benched.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we don't got dogs anymore. And even the leaders that are supposed to be the leaders, Roquan, you know, I get it. You got a big game against Cleveland, but he got manhandled against the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got injured quickly in this game. But all the fans that defend Marlin and some of these guys, and especially Harbaugh, we just don't have it. This core unit is not going to get over the hump.
I know. I mean, think about it, and just that word leadership on the sidelines with the coaching, leadership on the field. Roquan's got to be the man.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's no dogs out there anymore.
There's
right?
so many times where, and we're coming in, 10 minutes in the podcast, and like I said, this is going to be a quick one, but so many times I see Marlon, you know, he'll get burnt right out the gate, and then all of a sudden he's injured. I mean, I'm like, how ironic is that? They're picking Marlon is our new Brandon Stevens. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah.
They are seeking him out.
Well,
they are not afraid of
Tony
anybody.
Romo said it. They're picking on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they are.
He's
like
the
they
new
did
Brandon Stevens on this team.
Just like they did with Brandon Stevens. You know,
the only guy that I can't get too upset about is, you know,
Wiggins
and, you know, Kyle. And I know Kyle, I don't really see much plays with him, but I know he's solid. But maybe because the defense is all discombobulated, he can only do so much. Right. But of course, Wiggins gets hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
And he looks like he's got a serious injury too.
Yeah.
So, you know, and back to Stanley. Anytime you have to say, oh, he's out there, like it's a miracle. I mean, this guy for 2 years didn't play.
Yeah.
And he's finally healthy, and then all of a sudden, you talk about trusting somebody to be out there. I mean, and he's
it's just embarrassing on all proportions. And like I said, the biggest indictment is that this team quit. You know, outside of Lamar, as a unit, they quit.
Yeah.
They don't believe in this. How can you sit here and say it's not Harbaugh? You know, for years we kept hearing Harbaugh's not the one throwing picks. He's not the one, you know, fumbling the ball. They don't want to play for him no more. Yeah. Let's just call it like it is.
I
guess. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is he doesn't have a grip on this team at all.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you hire Zach Orr as a defensive coordinator with a team that's supposed to be a Super Bowl team? You can't. That's like hiring an intern when you should be hiring the guy with 15 years experience.
Exactly. I was just going to say, hiring a rookie like that is ridiculous on the defense.
Yeah.
We're at the cusp of a Super Bowl year.
And in this organization too.
Yeah, and I go back to we don't have an identity.
We don't.
And it starts
or
from
a leader.
And they say it starts from the top down. And I was talking to Brandon saying I would love Dan Campbell. I mean, those guys play for him, and he's no nonsense, and he's going to go on fourth down every down until they prove that they can't do it anymore.
I don't think we've had a fourth down stop this year.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 5 that's been converted on us, 3 in Detroit and 2 this game.
Oh, yeah, and I just thought of something, Brandon. When we got 2 delay of games in the same series, and I said something's wrong with Lamar, and then right after that, 2 almost back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he was lost. And like we said, it's hard to criticize Lamar because he is, you know, a magician at times. But man, sometimes he looks like such a rookie. It looks like he hasn't learned. He doesn't throw. He's not throwing the ball away. He doesn't slide when he could slide to protect himself. I mean,
you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because it goes into what you said about Monken. You know, the offensive line is terrible. You got to get the ball out of your quarterback's hands fast.
Fast. We all do that.
Josh Allen has been doing that. Mahomes did that to us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, all the elite quarterbacks know they only have 3 seconds, and Lamar's holding the ball for it seems like forever, like 10 seconds. In the NFL, you can't do that.
We got guys with speed that can catch after the run. Just give him the ball, get
them
involved.
Where was the slant patterns? Where was some more screen patterns? Because he has to get it out of his hands
and you
quicker.
Can make it 2nd and 3, and then get the first with Derek.
He's always, you know what?
You know,
he's always looking downfield.
Always.
You can just tell he doesn't have the peripheral vision to throw it to his running backs.
And like you say too, you know, how many times when he dumps it off, it's in the dirt. They got to catch it at the shoelaces.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Because I call it like a lazy pass off his back foot. You know, it's like he's so talented. He's so gifted that athletically. I think he can just feel he can just flip the ball out there.
But I don't understand all the fumbling. He fumbled last year in the playoff game. He fumbles this game. Yeah. It reminds me of when he first got into the league. Man, he would just be scrambling. The ball would just slip out.
Right. When he's not holding. He's not protecting the ball. That's another thing. He has the ball hanging out like this as he's running. So that's so dangerous for a quarterback.
At this stage in his career, though, on that second drive, your defense is bad. You can't afford to turn the ball over. The play is blown up. You're getting chased, and he throws up a 50-50 Russell Wilson moon ball up for grabs.
Yep.
You can't do that.
That was the maturity I'm talking about with him. After all these years, he's not maturing like he needs to be to go to the big show. Yeah. He just isn't.
They've been saying, the Chiefs and the Bills are his kryptonite. If you had to ask the Chiefs, who would you rather play in the AFC Championship game, Buffalo or Baltimore, they're choosing us every time.
Oh, yeah.
They are not afraid of us. They've had our number. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, is not afraid of Lamar. He has made Lamar look bad multiple times. Yeah. Multiple times. And it goes further than Lamar. I know we're getting on Lamar. As a unit, this whole team was not ready to play, and they crapped the bed, plain and simple.
I'm just so disappointed that this is the second time that Todd has done this with the offense against Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still talking about that on TV, on Get Up and Stephen A. They're still talking about that. And how could he do that and only have, 5-10 attempts running the ball?
Yeah.
It's just not our identity. And
when
that
you're
goes
a Super
back
Bowl
to,
team, you can't be judged heavily when you're playing, Cleveland and these lower tier teams.
Yeah.
When it matters most, can you come up through? Yeah. That separates the good coaches from the great coaches like Andy Reid and Belichick and all these guys.
And now practically everybody's hurt.
Yeah.
And the defense just looks horrific. So
I know a lot of fans want to stay optimistic, but how can you blame us after this game when they quit? Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, if we even sneak in the playoffs somehow, some way, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
We're going to be on the road. We can't win at home.
Yeah.
To me, it just seems like whatever it is going to take to get a coaching change in a different aura, a different unit, a different voice amongst these players, I'm willing for this team to just crap the bed to get a new face.
I just want an aggressive coach now, head coach. I'm so
with
sick
an identity.
of that passiveness he has and that look on the sideline like he's confused and doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
That is so irritating to me. Have some passion. I want somebody that's aggressive.
I want to look at my head coach and have confidence that he knows what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, in Lamar's second year, he's asking him, "Do you want to go for it?" He doesn't have a grip on the team.
I know.
Can you imagine Andy Reid asking his second-year quarterback, "What do you want to do? You want to go for it or you want to kick it?" Mm-hmm. He's going to know what to do at all situations of the game. And that was the writing on the wall. The writing on the wall for me was before the season. He's at in the Ravens lounge, and Harbaugh's like, all these fans saying if we don't go to the Super Bowl, it's a failed year. That just shows me they haven't won anything in life and all this stuff. He goes, the main goal is just to get better week by week. That to me was the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
As Herm Edwards says, you play to win the game.
Yeah.
It's Super Bowl or bust, John. What do you mean? That's not
what
the goal.
What message is that giving the players?
I know. The goal is not to go to the Super Bowl.
Mediocre? That doesn't happen in Baltimore.
We got to get this guy out of here.
That doesn't happen.
We got to get him out of here. I'm tired of it. And, the only positive, if you want to flip it that way, is our division's kind of weak. But Pittsburgh, I think they have a bye next week, and then they play Cleveland and Cincinnati. Yeah. So they're going to be like 5-1 most likely.
Yep.
The only chance, as you said to me, Dad, was to make the playoffs. We got to finish first in the division.
Yeah.
But like I said, even if we sneak in there, what are we going to do?
Wild card. We'll be a wild card and having to play away, like you said. So, it's just disappointing because it was promising on paper again this year. We had all the different weapons. We had had gained some more weapons.
After week 4, we're dead last in defense. Who would have thought?
Yeah. And I was so happy, as Brandon knows, about DeAndre Hopkins getting him, even though he's older. Yeah. Look at who's the best receiver on the team. In my opinion.
Between him and the first 2 games is Zay, and then they just stopped targeting him.
Yeah,
but,
Zay.
You can't trust his coaching staff to know what they're going to do week in, week out. Yeah. It's unfortunate, and it's the life of a Ravens fan these last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years.
I mean, we have the pieces, and it's something is wrong. Something has got to change, and it's gonna have to start at the top.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers that something changes at the end of the year at the minimum, because they can't keep tricking themselves, thinking that, you know, we're going to go into next year with this same group and thinking an outcome's going to be different.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the definition of insanity.
Man, I am trying to be optimistic, but it's difficult.
hard.
It's really difficult. This was a painful game. I had people that went to the game. My phone was blowing up. They're saying, what is going on?
Yeah.
You know, so it's not our imagination. Something terrible was going on yesterday.
I had to respond. I probably got between like 50 to 70 DMs on Instagram of just people just out.
Blowing you up.
They're just perplexed about this game, and I can't blame them. But the fact of the matter is this: if Cooper Rush is playing next week, really don't expect a podcast from us. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I mean, we turned this game off at halftime, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a foregone conclusion. We knew they didn't come out to play. They didn't want to play. So, you know, it is what it is. This team is in deep trouble. This head coach, I hope he's feeling the heat, because he deserves to feel the heat, as long as both coordinators. That's all I have to say.
Hey, all I got to say is ditto to that. That's all, you know?
Yeah, so maybe you'll hear from us next week. I'm not sure, and we'll keep our ears peeled for the Lamar news on this, but this team has a lot of work to do. But thank you again for tuning in for another week of Ravens Flock Talk.